It's all teed up very nicely for this afternoon.
Greg Garner is in charge. You need a steady hand on the whistle for a match of this importance. Neil Hatley on the left, thinking about the scrum in particular. Paul Gustard on the right, thinking about the forwards in general. And he'll have lots to enjoy here over the next 80 minutes, or at least we hope. Rain for the time being has stopped. A little bit of watery brightness above Welford Road as Freddie Burns sets Leicester on their way. First job for Guy Thompson, wearing 8 today, is to try and bring it away. He is a hefty ball carrier. New responsibilities in the absence of Nathan Hughes, at least for the early stages of this match. Hughes, one of Wasps' replacements. Thomas Young, as we were saying, restored to the 7 shirt, learnt so much last season from George Smith, who's now in Japan, and Cole getting involved in an early wrestle as Wasps take their time to clear their ball, but clear the ball they do. Hugo.
Joe Simpson been injured over the summer, spent a long time out, and Dan Rodson in his absence been fantastic. But what a start from Joe Simpson there. A brilliant kick, 50 metres up the pitch. It is a bit of a shorter pitch here, so you expect the Knights to be getting a bit of length, but a very well-assured start for him.
Not off the ball, please. Don't let him throw it in yet, time's still off.
New stand in the far distance, fully opened for the first time today, helping to stretch the capacity to 26,000. And first job for Mike Fitzgerald, the player of last season, is to gather that line out. And this is Matt Smith, maybe losing a little bit in the physicality stakes with him at 12, but not much. He's a big, strong inside centre.
He's made more on his first carry than Manu Tuilagi did all last week, so a lot to prove for him as well, with everyone talking about what they lose when Manu Tuilagi's not in the team.
Oh, that's Sam Jones reading that perfectly, and here's the break from McIntyre. Leicester pass that was read by Jones, and then Cipriani so swift to Daly, and Daly's through. He had Gopperth in support. What a situation for Wasps to develop on, and Jones, who started it all with the sharp mind and the break initially, and Simpson, and here's Young, and ricocheting out of the tackle, tempted by Beetham. Cipriani again to McIntyre, 2 key characters in the passage of play that's taken them to within 5 metres of Tigers' line. Ball was slow for Simpson, but he found Thompson, and they are that close. Here they go again, Cipriani, Wade involving himself, and for the first time it starts to unravel a little bit, but Leicester weren't rolling away at the tackle, and Wasps have a penalty under the post.
Well, Cipriani, knowing he had a free shot from the penalty, just trying to whiz it through the hands, doesn't quite come off. What a tackle and an impact early on to strip the ball, though. Sam Jones on Ed Slater. There's Slater looking to carry, straight in on the ball. Pops through his hands straight into Sam Jones's good leg drive. Look at this from Cipriani, though. Burns flying out of the line, trying to stop him man and ball. Doesn't stop the offload. And that causes all sorts of problems for the Tigers. And in the end, probably 3 points would be a bit of a relief for the men, the home men.
Fitzgerald under the tackle, but as he went under the tackle, he lost the ball. Hard chasing from Luke Hamilton, but all in vain. It's Luke Hamilton, Welshman who went to France to make a name for himself after rather got overlooked at home in Wales. He part of the Ajang setup. He was actually Leicester's top tackler a week ago. He looks like he might be a very clever signing.
He was the top tackler in the whole of the top 14 last year. As you said, unwanted in Wales. He's gone and rebuilt his career.
So having Gopperth and Cipriani in the same team, what it does give you is that right foot, left foot option. So off this, you'd be expecting to get a stable scrum.
Elbow.
That's Marcus
Pulling his
Ajersa, who
elbow down.
gets
He's
back
pulling
up
him
with his
down.
bowler hat at a jaunty angle. 200th start for him today. Personal disappointment of being left out of Argentina's squad for the Rugby Championship. I guess a bonus for Richard Cockrell and the rest of the club that he's around at a time of the year when Leicester had been used to him being away. Under a lot of pressure this season from young Ellis Genge. We saw the impact that he made at Kingsholm a week ago.
Had a look at his Twitter page. On his bio, he said, just like the M5, 2 hard shoulders. He's a tough boy.
Middle, please.
I might have to
Stand in the middle,
christen
please.
Stone Genge. Right, I didn't do it there. See if it catches on. Anyway, Wasps line up with Taylor. Oh, it was... I'm not entirely sure who that was meant for, but it ends up in the arms of Launchbury, so all's well that ends well. This is Taylor. And then Simpson picks it up. Wasps keen to add pace whenever they can, and they won't lose any with Cipriani or with Daly. Jones again, who's been a busy boy early on. Flies under most people's radars, Sam Jones, but he's having a very obviously good start to this match, Ben.
Yeah, brilliant start so far. A couple of big hits, turnovers and carries. Just really liked Joe Simpson there. His little snipe, but then when he realised that the defence had stepped back in on him, he still released it to Cipriani. Just that awareness. Often we see nines take the contact here when it's not quite on. But he just threatens. And as a defender, you're thinking now, right, I've got to stay tighter to the breakdown. He might give Cipriani a little bit more space as the game wears on.
Got a feel for Joe Simpson, Hugo, but for an injury training for the Sevens in the summer, he'd be an Olympic silver medalist now.
I know, yeah, terrible luck. They could have done with him out there as well, but I mean, pulled his hamstring on, I think the 3rd day of training, then dislocated his elbow. He is such a threat, and just like you said there, Ben, his ability to bring the forwards into the game, snipe himself, as well as giving a great service to Danny Cipriani, is why he's such a talented scrum half.
No problem. I told him.
Greg Garner being given the benefit of the experience of Tom Youngs and Marcus Ajersa.
Time on.
Good captaincy that, I think, from Tom Youngs. I think he just realised that Marcus Ajersa, maybe his English wasn't putting it as politely as it should be to the referee. Trying to make friends with the man who decides whether you're scrummaging right or not. Doesn't matter what the coaches think. The man in the yellow shirt is the one that costs your team if you're not doing it how he wants it.
Bind. Set.
Sam Harrison, again, starting at scrum half for Leicester today. Last Friday's man of the match in multiple roles. The assistant referee calling for the reset at Ross Campbell, but on we go because the ball was out. New law variation this season that even if the scrum collapses, as long as it's usable at the feet of the 8, on we go. McIntyre, McCaffrey got hold of him. Fitzgerald did. Cipriani under some pressure from Cole, who barrelled on an extra couple of rolls just to make sure he knew he was there.
Yeah, great kick from Cipriani, pinning Leicester back down, but they could have had a few problems, Leicester. Just watch. Here's the kick, I think it is. Beautiful kick, but just watch Sam Harrison on the last put into the scrum. Puts it in, it doesn't quite get struck cleanly, so just taps it back. Referee misses it.
Wasps,
Leicester
please.
get away with it.
Wasps.
He's good with his hands.
Wasps.
He's very good at woodwork.
That's fine, Ross, that's fine.
It's all sorts of clever things as a little sideline.
Insert's good.
Have you got one of his oak skateboards, Nick?
Spit one for Christmas, Benny. There you go.
Didn't have the ball.
It's actually interesting, Sam Harrison.
Transfer the ball.
He's
a man without the ball.
a Hinkley boy, and anyone who knows
Transfer
their
the ball, you played a man without the ball.
geography in this part of the world will know that Hinkley is very much a border town. It's one of those swing states, Ben, that you were talking about. He was flying the flag for Leicester, Hinkley-wise, this week, as you can imagine. He's one of the few with one of those fantastic Leicester accents. There is no mistaking where Sam Harrison comes from. He went to John Cleveland College. So many Leicester greats went through, the likes of Dean Richards, Manu Tuolungi. Actually becoming an academy, we're hearing, and they're not playing rugby there anymore, which is a huge shame.
Once Leicester.
It's really good defence at the maul. Joe Launchbury quite high, but just trying to work those arms through. to the ball.
It's part of a quarter of an hour played. Wasps ahead, courtesy of Jimmy Gopperth's early penalty in front of the posts. So Adam Thompson waiting for this kick, but the ball took an age to get back. Needed to be squirreled back by Hamilton. The time it took means that Fitzgerald has to reset it again. Now Thompson can chase. Rob Miller underneath it. Miller keen to be more than simply a stopgap between Charles Pietau's departure to Ulster and Willie LaRue's arrival in February from Japan. Tate again with the kick, and again it's not as accurate as he would have wanted it to be.
Yeah, you're in a good place now.
You're going to have to... No, it's bleeding. You're going to have to go and get it sorted.
Saying he's not ready to buy into this Midlands derby thing just yet. His phone was full of texts from mates in Coventry this week asking for tickets because they become Wasps supporters over the last couple of years. That didn't exactly improve Coffer's mood, I don't think.
Both start with very positive binds, and we've got to keep the loose head with his hips tight in, but the tight head's got to keep his feet underneath him.
Okay.
Fitzgerald. Ross Campbell on the far side, just passing on a little bit of intel in terms of the scrum and the positioning of the prop's feet.
Space, Leicester.
4 games to furnish our highlights programme tonight. New show this season on Saturday evenings if you haven't caught it yet.
More.
Ball lost.
Knock-on advantage.
And then it was hacked through.
No advantage. Knock-on.
Scrappy couple of minutes. Greasy surface obviously affecting the ball.
We said last scrum, keep your hips in. And then keep your feet up. Enough space?
Let's go, Corey. Greenhouse. Chase up, twos! Seconds. Yeah, it's coming to fly. Let's go, Marcus.
Crouch!
It's up against Marty Moore. First start for the Island Test player after swapping Leinster for Wasps.
That squeeze coming on from Ayertza, just managed to start moving forward before he twisted in. More up. Referee playing good advantage.
Peterson and Wade contesting mid-air.
We're here.
Industrious try-scoring debut for Peterson last weekend. Quite so much for Wade to do against Exeter. He was kept on a tightish lead by the Chiefs at the Rico.
Not for me, no. Not for me, no.
Tom Youngs found the target 94% of the time on his own throw against Gloucester. Remains 100% here this afternoon, and Smith juggles it into the arms of Peterson, but Garner was perfectly positioned to say that went forward.
Brilliant hands at the line out from Sam Harrison. Not matched in midfield. Sort of pressure from Gopperth, but they've got to be held. He's running onto it.
Matt Tamua, by the way, will arrive early October. Australia play Argentina at Twickenham at the end of the Rugby Championship, which is convenient. Means that he should be in these parts the following week, Matt Tamua.
Rolled him in on the arm.
It's Marty Moore who's been picked out.
Yeah, binding on the arm. We saw the last one under a lot of pressure. No penalty coming this time. Maybe just trying to protect himself slightly. It's on the shirt there. Does he roll? Just, it's a bit unfortunate there. I think it's because of the stretch on Ajertz's shirt that the arm comes down, and then as he tries to pull it in tight, he does pull Ajertz's elbow in, but if the shirt's not stable, it's very, very difficult for him to do anything else.
He's going to have a fascinating battle with Joe Cooper-Woolley this season for that shirt. Cooper-Woolley is on the bench today for Wasps. This to square things up for Leicester. Freddie Burns, quarter of the way through the match. Leicester 3, Wasps 3.
We saw it last week. Elliot Daly, who looks like he's primed to be chasing this kick. Everything was put on the money by Danny Cipriani. He led the chase last week. He's doing exactly the same here. In these conditions, you want to be spot on with retaining the ball.
Just wonder there, with what Hugo was saying, whether Leicester, the retreating pod, there need to take the ball and allow Hamilton to go in on them, because they didn't do a good enough job of letting Daly, or stopping Daly getting through to the man and ball.
Yeah, I'd be furious. If I'm stood there isolated, I want the guys in front of me just shielding me, or at least getting on their bike to get around me to make sure that we secure the ball, because that's a really good advantage now for Wasps. They've marched up the pitch 30 yards from not a lot of work.
Launchbury highest. Tommy Taylor back under his control. Sam Jones has worked his way back into things, as has Thomas Young, and on they go. They've drawn the penalty. Young still going with the advantage. Simpson, Cipriani, clipped through, looking, I think, for Gopeth, who was the closest runner, but always looked likely that they'd have to come back for the penalty.
If they read him, he's right, isn't he? Because he doesn't want to play too many phases, risk losing the advantage. So shot to nothing early on. No one really reads it. Gopeth just not on his bike. But good driving more from Wasps. Wasn't one of those stationary ones. They rolled it every time Leicester put a hit in. They rolled into another area. There they are, fairly straight, but now they're in behind. They look for the spaces. Tom Young's in there. Where does Marcos Ajertz come in before it drops? Referee thinks there's a bit of side entry.
I mentioned last week that Jimmy Gopeth was one of those players around the Premiership who's had the head shaved. There's a show of support for Christian Leiliafana, who's battling with leukemia at the moment. He does strike the ball wonderfully, and Wasps back ahead. Leicester 3, Wasps 6. Update from the other 3 o'clock kickoff. George Ford with a drop goal. Newcastle 3 now. Charge down not proving to be costly. Just grateful for the positioning of Joe Launchbury. Simpson making no mistake with that one. One bounce into the arms of Tate again. McCaffrey riding shotgun.
It's a bit of a shorter kick from Tate, much more competitive. Launchbury does really well on the floor to tidy up.
This is Thomas Young. who loses it on the floor to Tate.
Advantage. Knock on.
So Leicester with the advantage. There'll be scrum coming from this if nothing comes from it. Thompson, it's a long chase. Wade needs to be careful of the bouncing ball, and he took no risks. Seen one or two wingers caught out by that already this season, but not Christian Wade just then.
No, he was very sharp there, working off his wing, and important, especially that transition of when you're going from attack into defence. But concentration is one of the key aspects of being a good winger, and Christian Wade was certainly up to it at that point there. I have to say, I do like how the fly halves are playing off the advance. We saw Danny Cipriani with a little chip. Freddie Burns just investigating the back of the pitch, but defensive have been up to the challenge so far.
Tate once again selecting the gears, almost up to the 10-metre line. Harrison, this is Slater. Ford providing the link once more for the rumbustious Hamilton, but that's been lost, and Goppert sprinting away. Kicking through for Wade, and Wade surely the short price favourite to gather and score. Goppert's kick, Wade's pace, and then the dexterity to pick it up way down low. Charge down not proving to be costly. Just grateful for the positioning of Joe Launchbury. Simpson making no mistake with that one. One bounce into the arms of Tate again. McCaffrey riding shotgun.
It's a bit of a shorter kick from Tate, much more competitive. Launchbury does really well on the floor to tidy up.
This is Thomas Young, who loses it on the floor to Tate.
Advantage. Knock on.
So Leicester with the advantage. There'll be scrum coming from this if nothing comes from it. Thompson, it's a long chase. Wade needs to be careful of the bouncing ball, and he took no risks. Seen one or two wingers caught out by that already this season, but not Christian Wade just then.
No, he was very sharp there, working off his wing, and important, especially that transition of when you're going from attack into defence. But concentration is one of the key aspects of being a good winger, and Christian Wade was certainly up to it at that point there. I have to say, I do like how the fly halves are playing off the advance. We saw Danny Cipriani with a little chip. Freddie Burns just investigating the back of the pitch, but defensive have been up to the challenge so far.
Tate once again selecting the gears, almost up to the 10-metre line. Harrison, this is Slater. Ford providing the link once more for the rumbustious Hamilton, but that's been lost, and Goppert sprinting away. Kicking through
the challenge so far.
Tate once again selecting the gears, almost up to the 10-metre line. Harrison, this is Slater. Ford providing the link once more for the rumbustious Hamilton, but that's been lost, and Goppert sprinting away. Kicking through for Wade and Launchbury. 2-1. Youngs to Ajertse. Flipped away by Harrison, and now maybe Beetham with McCaffrey. Peterson, the chase with Bassett, and Bassett's not controlled it. And Peterson's in there scrapping, as are a bunch of his mates. Shrill Wasps alarm bells. Leicester with the turnover. Slater held up. McCaffrey almost gets there. He's bounced over the line, and Leicester have their first try. Half an hour gone.
Joe Launchbury complaining to the referee about the turnover that gave Leicester the ball, which McCaffrey nudged through. His assistant had told him that it was the first man in. Launchbury's not happy, but just that pressure of putting the ball in behind. Slater just taking his time, seeing the options. Watch this kick through. Just means that Bassett's got his back to the opposition, dives on the ball, doesn't quite come off. Goppert can't gather it either. And then come back to the blind side. McCaffrey trying to get his hands free. Simpson's in there, his knee's there. The referee doesn't feel he needs to have another look.
Now the likes of Jordan Crane, of Petty, Fanua, Lawrence Pearce, all big number 8s have moved on this season. Lockie McCaffrey will have a lot of work to do, but just like last season, he's started in fine fettle. Leicester back within 5. You get the sense it's and it remains a frustrating first half an hour for Leicester and Cockerell.
Just that inability to get down on the ball. Peterson, good chase, tries to drive through himself.
Cipriani bring it down on the 22. Peterson brilliantly taken.
If he hadn't taken that, Daly so close, and he would have been unimpeded to the line had that stopped. Really good chasing.
It's taken back.
Player.
Stand still.
Taken back into the 22, so Burns couldn't kick directly out of play, which will bring Guy Thompson back onto them quickly. He ricochets off the Argentinian shoulders of Azurza. Simpson as Wasps come the other way. Cipriani, Daly holds it up for Wade. How about these feet? Daly again, running into a 6 and 7 sandwich.
It's fine.
Wade needed to be there, and he's scragged by Cole, and now Cipriani is hit hard as well by Freddie Burns, and Leicester trying to disrupt things. McIntyre, Slater with the tackle. Bit more physicality from Leicester, Ben, maybe. You're seeing
just
that.
Risen slightly. Again, sometimes it just takes a couple of instants in the game. And they catch people behind the line, and suddenly they feel the opportunity to add physicality.
Yeah, kick's gone straight out of play, so back we come.
Launchbury wasn't happy on that try because of the turnover that gave Leicester the opportunity. Takes it down.
You cannot come up to me like that.
Said the first man wasn't the one who played the ball. It's O'Connor, I think, who rips it back on Leicester's side.
White holding people in and pulling them into the run.
Hugo, what are you looking at?
Well, off that turnover, what it led to is Wasps fullback Rob Miller been out of position, but McCaffrey outstanding in terms of his vision. He didn't do the simple thing, put the ball in behind, exploited the space, and then allowed that aggressive Leicester press to put pressure on, and eventually it was McCaffrey that benefited from it. It's a really good play.
Right, let's start again. Time off. On your front man, please. Time on.
Line out one by Slater. Not much between them stats-wise. 5 points between them score-wise. Now Leicester, for pretty much the first time in the match, getting their driving maul, chewing into Wasps' defence. Harrison, Burns, again the kick. Over the head of Miller, and Thompson was scampering after it. Why are we seeing so much kicking at the moment, Hugo?
Do you know what? A lot of it is down to what your wingers' attributes are. When you've got Tom Stone and you've got JP Peterson, who are really good in the air, the opportunity's there. However, it does put pressure on the 10 to get it right, because once you're kicking the ball away, you're giving up possession. Equally, a bit of rain earlier, the ball is quite greasy. It does make it very hard to defend.
32 in the match so far. That's higher than we'd normally expect to have seen by this stage.
You certainly can say. I mean, it's been a brilliant game. The game has been nothing but boring, has it?
Launchbury again having to stretch, as he has done a couple of occasions on those line-outs. Once again, Wasps will have it to play with, or to clear.
We've had a run.
Look at the white shirts providing the wall for Simpson as he clears that away right-footed, and again almost up to halfway. Thompson and Tate conspiring. Tate held up by the first line of defence. Here's O'Connor. Eye-catching start to his debut season last season before injury rather interrupted things. And then it's been lost by Slater.
Not the first time Slater's mishandled. Running a confrontational line back against the ball.
Sorry?
Captaincy baton pass to Tom Youngs this season. Ed Slater's done it for the last couple of years.
Stay off that arm. Okay.
Got enough room? Into the final 5 minutes.
Positive bind.
First half has given us a couple of tries. One for Wasps and
Crouch.
Christian Wade, one for Leicester and Lockie McCaffrey.
Bind. Set. Outside.
Thompson.
Ball's out. Play on.
Simpson hit hard. Has the ball been dislodged? It looks like it has. But Wasps have won it back.
Use it.
Simpson again. Directly into touch. Safety first.
Sorry.
Well recovered from Joe Simpson. Good leadership qualities from there. He got scragged, managed to regain the ball. His forward pack did really well to get in and around him, and his identification of knowing that lots of Wasp members on the floor, kicked the ball long, got it off the pitch.
It's not like he was looking for Danny Cipriani or Goppert to pass it to, and neither of them were there.
Wasps 6.
They're not struggling for kickers in their back line, are they? I mean, Jimmy Gofford, Danny Cipriani, Elliot Daly, all big boots.
Play on, no knock on.
Simmons was up well to disrupt things for Wasps, and Cipriani this time to Daly, bypassing Goppert. Bassett providing the link. Launchbury running into Hamilton.
Let go now!
Cipriani with that low head high skidder.
Can't go forward, lads.
Tricky 5-metre corner, but Tate does well up the touchline.
Come out, Wasps.
Simpson back from where it
Well
came.
done, please.
This is Matt Smith. First start in 6 months for Smith in the absence of Tuolangi. He'll let nobody down in a Leicester shirt.
No, he's a quality player, abrasive, or like a day like today. Gives you that grunt going forward, but he's got lovely hands as well. A very good decision maker. 185 games, like you said, for Leicester before the programme.
Goppert, Cipriani, Bassett, Miller, Wade. Tate with the tackle. Wade enveloped, but he's managed to turn it. Leicester thought they'd turn that ball over. Greg Garner decides that they've done it illegally. Tate off his feet.
Not now.
It was good defence up until then. Beetham doing a really good job of having just a little sniff in defence, but then bouncing out. Look here, they keep their numbers well. Beetham gets off, keeps the numbers on the outside. Tate makes the tackle on Wade, but then just in the excitement that they've got someone trapped, referee saying players going off their feet. I think it's actually probably Matthew Tate that gets penalised. O'Connor's legs lifted.
Update from the rec just before half-time. Bath have all of a sudden raced into a 20-0 lead against Newcastle in the other 3 o'clock kick-off. A penalty try and a more conventional one from Matt Banahan. This will be the last act of the first 40 here in the East Midlands. Just about the first thing that Jimmy Goppert's got wrong in an otherwise exemplary first 40 for the inside centre. He set up Christian Wade's first try for Wasps. Lockie McCaffrey got one back for the hosts, but at half-time here at Welford Road, it's